By the end of this video, we will design Notion's toggle button using auto layout in just 5 easy steps. Step 1. So in the previous videos, we managed to create the navigation section and also the hero section. We need to create the pricing page with the toggle. If I visit our Figma file here, we see that we have another section which is called pay by month and also pay yearly. If we take a look at our components page, we have our chips and link. So the way we would do that is we would hold option and basically drag one of the chips out. Now we need to detach this, so we will hold command and / right detach. Basically we would select detach instance, and for this one we need to have active and basically inactive. So for the active one, all we need to do is make this a white color by giving it 100% gray. Also, if we select the text, we want to make sure we select the primary 5. And then for the inactive one, what we need to do is bring this and remove the background color by again going to the fill and removing it. And then for the text color, we want to go with 94. Step 2. However, if we go with 94, it might not be visible when we add a background color, which means if we try to actually highlight both of them and do a shift and A to create an auto layout, we do want to go with the fill 94. So this is what we want at the moment. And as you can see, the text here is not visible. So what we need to do is add another color to our color styles. Here we have primary 94, so we would detach this and then we would click on our fill and then we would reduce that to like 85. And then as you can see, if I drag this out, 85 is still not as visible, so we can reduce that to 75%. Also from the font perspective, we do want to reduce this from semi-bold to regular. And now since we're happy with this, what we can do is add that to our color palette by clicking on the fill, add, and then style, and then just renaming this to primary /75, and then we would create that style. And now if we click outside, we need to double click on our auto layout and then rename this to toggle, change the direction from vertical to horizontal, and making sure instead of fixed, we go with hug. And we would select both of the chips. Here on the left hand side, we have the toggle, so we would select both of the chips, and then again from fixed, we would select hug. And then as you can see, our toggle is growing. What we need to do is also round the toggle and add more padding. So in this example, we need to click on toggle, and as you can see, the padding is 0, so we would only give it 8 pixels around. So we would click and give it 8 pixels, and then from the appearance, we would just max it out to create a toggle shape. And then once we're done here, this would be our active toggle and this would be our inactive. Step 3. So we need to create 2 component set out of this and then nest it inside the toggle, which means I need to basically drag this out holding option and drag this out as well. So this would be our toggles. Highlight both of them and then command / to create multiple components. And then once I create multiple components, I would combine them as variants. And for the background color, I do want to choose the toggle background color, which is primary 94. So here I would click on that, go to the fill, and then select primary 94 because this is the background color I want to use for my toggle. So here I would just rename this to toggle. So I would basically move the toggle around and then bring it close to the other components that I created. And what you notice is they are very similar in terms of the component property. So what I can do is instead of me clicking on the toggle and renaming the property, you can always click on the previous components that you have. In this example, if I visit the layers panel and I collapse the pages, we see that we have purple set to true and then purple set to false. So if we repeat the same process for the toggle, if I close that and visit the toggle component, I can create that true and false value. So I can basically double click, copy the value, go to my toggle, and then just paste that there in both of them. And then if I do that, and now if I click on the toggle here, you see my toggle is actually renamed to purple property. So there's 2 ways you can actually assign variants, either renaming your layers this way or actually using the variants panel. However, in this example, I don't want this to be purple, so I can double click instead of purple, call this active, and I want to make sure that the white one is set to true because this is the active one and the other one is set to false, which is the inactive one. Also, if I click on the chip component and I click on the master one, here we see that we have a label which is all lowercase and it is linked to the text here. So what I need to do is double click to copy the label, exactly the same name, click on my toggle, and then hover over the properties, click the plus, and then go with text. And then this way I would just copy paste that label all lowercase, and then I would just give it a value of default for now. Once I create that text property, here Figma gives me an error message that this is not being used in the toggle component. So what I need to do is select the text in both of the toggles and navigate to the typography section and click on that tiny icon to apply. And then this way, as soon as I click that, I would automatically link it to the label. And now if I take a look at the left hand side, you see the layer panel under the toggle. This is exactly the same thing as the chip here. If you take a look at the chip here, we see that we have purple false and purple true. If we take a look at the link, we have black false and black true. So we are repeating the same pattern. I would collapse all the layers to have a clean layer panel to work with. Step 4. And now what I would do is I would just simply hold Option and drag this out, cut that, and then double click in the toggle and then hold Command Shift and R to replace that. So if I take a look at the toggle on the left hand side here, we see we have the actual toggle frame, and instead of auto layout we have a toggle instance. So I can simply delete the other one and then select the toggle, Command and D to duplicate that. And if I take a look at the toggle right now, here you see we have toggle which is active on both sides. So I can simply click on one of them and disable the active. So this way we can toggle between active and inactive. Once I'm happy with this, I can actually click on the toggle auto layout, cut that, and I go ahead and visit my website page. And then here if I zoom out and if I click on my body here, you see on the left hand side we have a navigation, we have a section, and we have another section. We need to duplicate that other section and then open that. Let me scroll down, click on the testimonial, delete that, and make sure to Command V and paste that toggle inside the third section. And if I take a look at the actual frame here, you see it actually is added after the testimonial, and we have default as our text. So all we have to do is basically copy the value, which is pay monthly, go with the actual default one, which is the first one, replace the label to pay monthly, and go ahead and replace the other one, which is pay yearly, with the other toggle by visiting the label and replacing the value here. Also, what you can do to make this a little bit stand out, because you want your users to pay yearly, you can simply double click, highlight that, go to the fill section. Since we have a tertiary color, we would basically highlight that, so this would stand out a bit more. This way, if I click outside, it looks better and users would click on it. Also, in terms of spacing, we would want to reduce the gap to 0 because we only would have one toggle active at the same time. So if I basically collapse everything, we have managed to design the section, so we can simply delete that. Step 5. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more design tips and tutorials, and let me know what you think in the comments down below.